full of noise. Yet somehow, Aifeex's stood apart. I remember the first time I opened the Aifeex's app. Its sleek blue interface and AI-driven dashboard felt less like a DeFi platform and more like a gateway into the future of financial automation. Back then, Aifeex's was trading around 11 cents, quietly gaining traction among early adopters who saw something bigger than just another token. Aifeex's wasn't promising hype. It was promising a system, a real, AI-integrated, community-governed ecosystem designed to bridge centralized exchange, CX, precision with decentralized freedom. But what none of us knew then was that this hybrid phase was temporary. By the end of 2025, everything would change. That change began with a single announcement: the launch of Aifeex's AI-DeFi dApp on September 1st, 2025. The message was clear. Aifeex's was leaving behind its centralized roots. The team cited a principle they called users first, a phrase that's been echoed across countless blockchain projects, but rarely executed with conviction. This time, it meant something real. The dApp wasn't just a technical upgrade. It was a philosophical shift. Users would now bind their on-chain wallets directly, removing intermediaries and custodial risk. Their assets, staking rewards, and even referral relationships would be synchronized directly onto the blockchain. It was as if Aifeex's was saying, "You don't need us to hold your assets. You control them yourself." That decision was monumental. In a landscape still dominated by hybrid models, where exchanges claimed decentralization while holding users' funds, Aifeex's was going all in. From that moment, every staking reward and VIP benefit started flowing directly to linked dApp wallets. No more hidden custody layers. No more central servers managing reward schedules. The AI-DeFi system became fully self-regulated through smart contracts, supported by a dynamic network of 7 ecosystem modules: the HCX, AI-DeFi Aggregator, AI MEV Capture Bot, AI-DeFi Extreme Arbitrage, AI-DeFi Staking Protocol, and AI Agent System. Together, these modules were forming what Aifeex's called the first AGI-driven financial ecosystem federation network. It sounded ambitious, and it was. But the real shock came 2 weeks later, when on September 15th, 2025, Aifeex's dropped what I now consider their most defining update: the AI-DeFi Staking Protocol upgrade. The document began dryly enough, outlining a new 1:1 equivalent staking model between Aifex and USDT. But reading deeper, I realized this wasn't just an optimization. This was a controlled demolition of the old system. Aifeex's was effectively dismantling the centralized staking architecture piece by piece. The annual staking cycle, gone. Invitation relationships, wiped out. VIP tiers and referral incentives, abolished. And instead, a single unified network-wide staking pool was established, capped at 30 million Aifex in total rewards. That was it. Once those tokens were distributed, no new emissions would be generated. The system would reach equilibrium, and the staking era as we knew it would end. To anyone outside the ecosystem, that might sound like an ordinary update, a shift in tokenomics, or a technical cleanup. But to those of us who followed Aifex from its early days, this was revolutionary. The company was giving up centralized control voluntarily. They were saying, "We're done managing your relationships and payouts. From here on, everything is governed by code." It was a move so bold it almost seemed self-destructive. But for Aifeex's, it wasn't destruction, it was evolution. The reasoning behind this decision was rooted in sustainability. In earlier years, Aifeex's referral structures and VIP programs had driven user growth rapidly, but they also created a semi-centralized incentive web. While effective for expansion, it didn't fit the long-term vision of community autonomy. With AI-DeFi, the protocol was designed to let algorithms, not administrators, manage liquidity cycles, pool rotations, and yield optimization. It marked the point where artificial intelligence stopped being a buzzword and started acting as the invisible governor of a decentralized economy. When I looked at the data following the upgrade, the implications were clear. By automating the 100-day release schedule for legacy staking funds, the system prevented sudden liquidity shocks. Every user who had staked in annual or ecosystem pools before the upgrade now entered a structured release mechanism, unlocking 1% of their total principal daily. That meant no whale could destabilize the system overnight. No coordinated dump could occur, and the network could adjust organically as liquidity re-entered circulation. It was mathematical decentralization in action, stable, algorithmic, and resistant to manipulation. What impressed me most, though, was the transparency. Aifeex's didn't just publish numbers. They published hashes. Every burn, every staking distribution, every network-wide update. As of that point, over 44 million Aifex had been burned, a figure updated daily and visible in the app's ecosystem tab. The burn hash feature became a defining symbol of integrity, something rare in crypto. It was proof that this wasn't marketing. Tokens were actually being taken out of circulation permanently, reducing supply and reinforcing the value of long-term holding. And then came the final stroke of brilliance, combining Aifex with AI-powered yield optimization. This wasn't just DeFi staking anymore. It was AI-DeFi. The protocol used graph neural networks, GNNs, reinforcement learning, RL, and algorithmic rebalancing models to identify optimal yield paths across ecosystems. In plain English, it watched market movements 24/7 and reallocated liquidity to maximize returns while minimizing exposure. The daily staking return stabilized at around 3%, but behind that simple number was a network of AI engines making thousands of micro-decisions per second. The longer you staked, the smarter your pool became. As a crypto journalist, I've covered hundreds of projects claiming to use AI. Most of them turned out to be smoke and mirrors. But in Aifeex's case, the integration was verifiable. You could see the AI-driven modules at work inside the ecosystem interface. Predictive analytics guiding staking rotations, dynamic token pairings adjusting yields, and sentiment analysis engines tracking volatility in real time. The Aifex app had evolved into something beyond a wallet. It was an AI-assisted financial command center. The September transformation also marked the cultural turning point of the Aifex community. Without referral hierarchies, the platform became a true meritocracy. There were no more top recruiters, no private bonuses, no internal leverage. Every user stood equal, connected through the same dApp infrastructure. The only differentiator was participation. The more you engaged with the network, the more you earned through activity, not affiliation. That's what autonomy really meant. Of course, no transition of this magnitude happens without turbulence. Some users resisted the removal of VIP tiers. Others were skeptical about the 30 million cap limit. But those who stayed saw something deeper, the end of dependency. The move mirrored a broader shift happening across Web3, away from human-managed yield programs and toward AI-managed decentralized finance. And in that context, Aifeex was ahead of the curve. Behind the scenes, I learned that this wasn't just a financial redesign. It was part of a bigger architecture called the TACWIN model, Aifeex's proprietary framework for building the AGI Financial Federation. It's a modular structure linking all 7 ecosystem products, from ACX to AI Agent, under one data intelligence umbrella. Each module feeds information to the others: price data, arbitrage opportunities, liquidity cycles, and even behavioral signals. The more users engage, the more data the AI learns from, and the smarter the network becomes. In a way, every stake, every swap, every withdrawal contributes to the neural growth of the ecosystem itself. It's this feedback loop that's redefining Aifex's value. Unlike typical tokens whose worth depends on hype or speculative trading, Aifex derives intrinsic value from its role within this AI-driven infrastructure. It fuels staking, liquidity rebalancing, and internal AI modules, functioning simultaneously as utility, governance, and yield token. That's why the 30 million Aifex staking reward limit isn't restrictive, it's liberating. Once those rewards are fully distributed, Aifex becomes a self-sustaining economy, where yield is generated not by inflation, but by AI efficiency gains. That's the hidden meaning behind Aifeex's September announcement. Not an ending, but an evolution toward a closed-loop AI economy. For years, the crypto industry has struggled with sustainability. Inflationary reward systems eventually collapse, liquidity mining drains capital, and centralized oversight always reintroduces trust issues. Aifeex's new system addresses all 3 simultaneously. By capping emissions, automating release schedules, and embedding intelligence into staking logic, they've effectively built the framework for an autonomous AI-DeFi economy that can scale indefinitely. When I look at the broader market today, few projects dare to make that leap. Most are still trapped between old financial habits and new technologies, pretending to be decentralized while secretly depending on centralized infrastructure. Aifeex didn't just talk about change, they implemented it. From now on, everything, staking, yield, and governance, flows through the blockchain. The company's role has shifted from controller to facilitator. It's a rare example of a project willingly surrendering authority to its community and algorithms, proving that decentralization and intelligence can coexist. So, where does this leave Aifex now? In my opinion, at the beginning of its most exciting chapter. The AI-DeFi protocol isn't a temporary staking platform. It's the economic backbone of the upcoming AGI financial era. As the modules continue to evolve, the network will likely transition into a federated AI structure, where each ecosystem node operates semi-independently while sharing global liquidity intelligence. The Aifex token will remain at the center, not just as a currency, but as an access key, a signal of participation in an autonomous system that learns, adapts, and grows without central command. In hindsight, calling this the end of centralized staking doesn't fully capture what happened. It was the beginning of financial consciousness, an economy run not by people, but by evolving intelligence that reflects human intent. Aifeex didn't just remove the middleman. They redefined what it means to trust a system. And if you're watching this, the story is still being written. The next phase of Aifex isn't about speculation. It's about understanding how AI and DeFi can merge to create lasting, decentralized value. Whether you're an investor, a developer, or simply curious about where finance is heading, this ecosystem is one to study closely. Because one day, we'll look back at 2025 and realize this was the turning point, when decentralization truly met intelligence. If you found this breakdown valuable, don't forget to subscribe and join our Telegram community at https://t.me/earn passively daily, where we continue to follow Aifex's progress ecosystem upgrades, and AI-powered financial evolution in real time. This is more than a token. This is the future, and it's already begun.